I'll take a pound of nuts.
That's a lot of nuts!
Hey, what is going on, everybody? We are back, 8 p.m. Central Time with the Power Up Podcast, where we take a look at what's happening in pop culture, keep our minds sharp, up to date, all that fun stuff. Right now, we are live on YouTube, Rumble, and Kick, so feel free to check out those, hit like and subscribe, and my link tree is in the description below if you want to check out my other social medias as well. Yes, today we've got some topics here, keeping up with what's happening during the week. We've got topics ranging from video games, from anime, well, I don't know about anime, but that's what we try to cover at least, just pop culture in general. Whatever floats our boat, whatever suits our fancy, if you will. Like I said, with the goal to keep our minds sharp, up to date, and just see what is going on, all that fun stuff. Oh, I guess I do have some anime stuff. I thought so. But yeah, this is like actually full transparency here. Like I skimmed through some stuff, but I don't read it because I want to give you guys a first impression. So if you enjoy that sort of stuff, like and subscribe. If you don't, you can also dislike. Leave a comment if you want to. Some people have. That's fine. That's cool. But yes, with that being said, let's hop into it. So I still have my old Xbox One, and I still got my Elite controller here. I actually have it right here, and as you can see, the thumbsticks have been worn down pretty good. These are the removable ones. But we got here the Xbox Elite Series 3 controller is reportedly releasing later this year. So I'm curious to know kind of what the difference is between the two and whatnot. This comes from Tech for Gamer. So the Xbox controllers have been the staple for many people over the years. Yeah, I mean, I'm more inclined to enjoy PlayStation controllers. They're not only very reliable, but also offer some of the best compatibility for PC users. This is true. Yeah, although I think PS5 is starting to get there too. However, the Xbox Elite controller is due for a refresh, and it might happen this year. So a new report claims that the Xbox Elite Series 3 controller will come out this year. These controllers are generally geared towards pros, which require features like tap triggers, additional buttons, and more. Pro controller space has seen a lot of activity with Sony having the DualSense Edge. Others like Fly Diggy, but the Xbox controller remains the default choice for many players. Fools. Everybody fools. I never liked this D-pad. I don't know why anybody would want to use that D-pad. I like those. I don't remember what that is. So according to The Verge, we can expect the Elite Series 3 to launch this year. A next-gen Xbox controller has been greenlit, which will include built-in Wi-Fi and help reduce latency during Xbox Cloud gaming. So are they changing the design otherwise? I doubt it. The Series Elite refresh has been a long time coming. As good as Series 2 is, it has some glaring issues like standard joysticks that are prone to drift. However, there's no confirmation if Series 3 will ship with Hall effect sticks or not. Other quality control issues have also been recurrent, with reports of peeling grips, sticky buttons, and more, which people don't expect for the steep price. Nevertheless, it'll be interesting to see what Xbox does with it. So a rather short article here, but if people are looking to get a new controller, you can always check out the Xbox Elite Series 3. I was hoping they would at least have a picture of kind of what it's going to look like. Because the Elite controller, removable thumbsticks, so you can have shorter sticks, longer sticks, the rounded sticks. This weird D-pad thing, you could just have your standard, which I immediately put that on because I don't see why you would need to use this for anything, unless it's for like they said, a PC, but I haven't really come across any games that I would need that sort of stuff. And the triggers in the back, the pads that you can set. But yeah, I got that when we were playing like Halo and all that stuff, but haven't really used them since. In fact, I could probably just take them off the back, really. But that's something to look forward to if you like the Xbox 360 controller. Another thing that's coming out video game wise, if we hop over to Niche Gamer, is Super Bomberman Collection. Don't know if you guys saw this, but apparently it has been announced by Konami, a new set of classic Bomberman games with some titles that were never released outside of Japan. So it's launching today, and this, yeah, February 5th, today, for Windows PC via Steam, Xbox Series XS, Switch and Switch 2, and PlayStation 5. It includes Super Bomberman 2, Super Bomberman 3, previously unreleased in North America but was released in the EU, Super Bomberman 4, previously unreleased in the West, Super Bomberman 5, Bomberman, the Japanese version, and Bomberman 2. So we've got a full rundown on the collection, plus a reveal trailer. So total of 7 titles, 12 versions across Japan, Europe, and USA. That'd be Super Bomberman. Includes boss rush mode to time attack against all the bosses in the game. Excuse me. Support functions, libraries, and more. I never checked out Bomberman, but we've got the trailer here. Let's take a watch. A watch and a listen. Kaboom! Looks like it's all bowling. You know, of course, they're showing off the Switch 2 version. Oh, that was a cool animation. I actually like that. Poor Bomberman. He just seems to be stuck in so many different areas. Got a giant clown. Looks like a baby of some kind. Strike fast and go for the ultimate speed. There's a robot. 2 classic titles from the original Famicom. And I forget which one it is, but it might be one of these where you could do multiplayer online. 200 rare pieces from the original Bomberman archive. Create your own bomb radio. That's pretty cool. What else do we got? Speed this up here. Hurry. Well, there you go. Whoops, did not mean to click into that, but yeah, if you like yourself a good Bomberman, there you go. Super Bomberman Collection. So you can look more on that on Niche Gamer. Drain Man, how a shelved script could have changed live action Mario story in 1993. So I found this article here over at Bounding into Comics, which a lot of people don't like the movie, but I actually do like it, and that's the Super Mario Brothers movie of 1993. So this one caught my eye too, because if you actually do kind of look into the history of this movie, it was actually originally supposed to be very, very dark, and then they changed a lot of stuff, and then the directors keep changing to where the directors that ultimately did the movie weren't going to have the original suits, and I think Nintendo even demanded that they put it back in. So I'm curious what this article has to do. It's from January 31st. So a little behind, but it just caught my eye. Long before Nintendo's modern animation wave, culminating in the Mario Galaxy themed adventure slated for this year, Mario adaptations wandered a strange decades-long desert hill. Hollywood spent years circling the property, often missing the tone, the charm, or even the basic silhouette of the Mushroom Kingdom. So that winding road began in the 1993 live-action Super Mario Brothers, a film whose neon grunge dystopia felt like it had tunneled in from another universe entirely. Yet buried in the rubble of that production lies a tantalizing relic, an unused script by Rain Man writer Barry Morrow, nicknamed Drain Man, that would have steered the film towards something far more dramatic than the chaotic cyberpunk detour audiences ultimately received. So before the rewrites at took over, Mario's draft offered a grounded, character driven take on the Mario Brothers. Mario was a worn down mentor figure shouldering years of responsibility. Luigi was a drifting idealist searching for direction. Their journey into a parallel world wasn't a plunge into neon dystopia, but a descent into a crumbling mirror city shaped by their own anxieties, and the nickname captured the scream's unexpected emotional depth. So Mario's world leaned into a psychological contrast rather than spectacle. Koopa was imagined as a rigid authoritarian obsessed with order, a foil to Luigi's uncertainty. Daisy served as the emotional hinge of the story, not a quest object, but a catalyst for the brothers' growth. The Mushroom Kingdom became a mythic reflection of identity and responsibility, an approach that treated the characters as people first, icons second. So inside the production, the script sparked debate. Some saw a rare chance to elevate a video game adaptation. Others feared it strayed too far from the bright toy box energy of the source material. With studios still unsure how to market game-based films, the dramatic tones were executives made executives uneasy. Mario's draft was quietly shelved as the project drifted toward a louder, more chaotic identity. Once his script was set aside, the production entered a period of constant reinvention. Yeah, new writers cycled through with competing visions, and the film began absorbing influences from every corner of the early 90s genre cinema. It's probably kind of why I like it. It just makes me think of the past, if anything. It's by no means a good story, but it just it's like that scene in Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles where you just see all the culture, the kids, skateboarding, smoking, gaming. Ugh. Instead of refining a single direction, the story fractured. Part comedy, part dark fantasy, part industrial sci fi. The parallel world morphed into a sprawling dystopian city, clattering machinery and dripping pipes. Mario and Luigi, once anchored by emotional stakes, were reshaped into reluctant action heroes, navigating a world stitched together from clashing tones. The shift wasn't driven by one bad decision, but by the cumulative effect of constant recalibration, anxiety producers, ambitious directors, and a studio system still learning how to adapt interactive worlds into coherent narratives. By the time filming began, the movie had become a patchwork of impulses. It carried flashes of ambitions, but the connective tissue had been thinned by months of tonal tug of war. Bob Hopkins said it was the worst movie he ever did. Oh, the result was a film remembered as much for its audacity as for its dissonance, a bold swing that never quite knew which game it was playing. So, against the backdrop, the Drain Man script stands out even more sharply. It represents a version of Super Mario Bros. That might have arrived decades before Hollywood embraced the idea that video game adaptations could be dramatic and character driven. In the aftermath, the 1993 film cast a long shadow over Nintendo's relationship with Hollywood. The company, famously protective of its characters, treated the experience as a warning. Without tight creative control, the Mushroom Kingdom could easily become unrecognizable. So for years, Mario stayed off the big screen, while other franchises stumbled through their own awkward adaptation. Yet Mario's screenplay hints at a different evolutionary path, where Hollywood might have embraced sincerity and emotional storytelling in game adaptations far earlier. I wonder if you can actually find this script. So his draft anticipated the direction the industry would eventually take, treating game characters not as mascots, but as protagonists with inner lives and real stakes. It was an early signpost pointing towards a road the industry wouldn't fully explore until decades later. So now, with Nintendo's animated resurgence and the Galaxy film on the horizon, the landscape finally resembled the one Morrow gestured back in 1991. How, you may ask, the Mushroom Kingdom is being handled with care, curiosity, and a willingness to let its character breathe. In a sense, Drain Man isn't just a relic, it's a reminder that the potential was always there, waiting for the industry to catch up. I do wonder if you can find that. Hmm. Let's see. Yeah, I'm trying to see if I can find it. Not really. It may be gone. Man, that'd be so sick to find like something like that. Huh. According to this, I mean it's Reddit, but there's two missing drafts. Apparently, there's the Barry Morrow draft of 91 and the George Stone of 1991. Both are kept in the Path archives in France, along with all the other drafts. One-page excerpts were recently posted in an article about the film from Le Monde. From one page, it seems that the Parker script borrowed heavily from the Morrow script, presumably existing just to add the fantasy element. Man, I'd love to see that script. That'd be so sick. What's up, Komanga? Over on YouTube. Hello, hello. I thought this was funny. So we bashed on Ubisoft. We bashed on Assassin's Creed. Or not as well, we had bashed on Assassin's Creed, but Ghost of Yote. Well, Video Game Chronicles has an article. And apparently, Sony is claiming that Ghost of Yote sales are outperforming Tsushima. Gigantic X to doubt on this. I call bullshit. Ghost of Yote has exceeded the sales of its predecessor, Ghost of Tsushima, release aligned, PlayStation said during its latest earning results on Thursday. So is that what, today? Speaking during an earnings call transcribed by Video Game Chronicle, the platform holder stated that Yote exceeded the sales of the previous title in the same period of time and significantly contributed to the latest results. Sony did not share a specific updated sale figure for the Sucker Punch title. And that right there tells me that that is a bunch of garbage. They are so lying. In its previous financial results, it said Ghost of Yote has surpassed 3.3 million units sold as of November 2nd, a month after its initial release. So now they're saying 3.3 million. Remember when they were jacking off about how many people were playing? And people were like, okay, what's the actual units? This likely put it rough in line with Tsushima, which sold 2.4 million units in the first 3 days. That doesn't make sense to me. How can you say Ghost of Tsushima sold 2.4 million units the first 3 days? Well, let's just continue. In the first 4 months, Ghost of Tsushima sold around 5 million units. It's worth noting that the original Ghost game was released slightly later in the console cycle when the PS4 had a larger installment base than the PS5 does now. According to Kirkana data, Ghost of Yote was the third best-selling PlayStation game in the US last year and the overall 11th best-selling game across the platforms. Komanga says it's outperforming Tsushima in their Sony dreams. Yeah, and yet it won no awards. So yeah, you're telling me this was like one of the best games during this earnings year, and they won 0 awards? Sure, give me a break. And then on Thursday, I'm assuming it means today, because this article is today, and today is Thursday. So they're claiming that the PS5 has now sold in around 92.2 million consoles and remains virtually neck and neck with its predecessor, launched aligned. During the holiday sales, the PS5 enjoyed stronger than expected sales and even outperformed the Nintendo Switch 2. Ooh, how's about that? Video Game Chronicle, yeah, they're just promoting their review of the bullshit game. Delivering a hugely enjoyable open world game and almost rid itself of Tsushima's bloat. They wrote, pacing issues and some underdeveloped villains aside, Yote improves on the original game in every department and delivers best-in-class visual and music. That means nothing. What about the story? If the story is shit, then I don't care how beautiful it looks and how the music sounds. And You're saying there's pacing issues and some underdeveloped villains aside, and you're telling me, yeah, set those aside. The original game, it delivers, improves on the original game because of its visuals and music. It's like, oh my gosh, that means you had nothing to say. So I thought this funny that Sony is trying to claim that Ghost of Yote is outperforming Tsushima. I don't believe that for a second, because they didn't comment exactly on like the total figures. So I call bullshit. But who knows? Maybe they're right. Oh yeah, speaking of Ubisoft and Assassin's Creed, apparently 2 Assassin's Creed titles at Ubisoft, Annecy, canceled and separate from Project Invictus. So late last month, Ubisoft announced a strategic reset that involved 2 studio closures. Unfortunately, one of them not being the one in Montreal, because that's the one that screws everything over. And 6 project cancellations that include the Sands of Time remake. And now, a new Assassin's Creed multiplayer project as per a new report. Codenamed Assassin's Creed League, the game was initially planned as a DLC for Shadows, but later became a standalone title. Why it matters. Ubisoft has been canceling far too many projects, which is why they've lost more than 90% of their stock value, ultimately losing billions of dollars. According to Origami, which spoke with nearly a dozen employees at the French publisher, Ubisoft Annecy was developing a code-named project called League before it was axed after the formation of Vantage Studios, the subsidiary formed by Ubisoft alongside Tencent. Ubisoft Annecy was the support studio that had previously worked to develop the multiplayer modes for Assassin's Creed Black Flag. I actually had that game and I never finished it. I heard that one was actually pretty good. Unity, Brotherhood, and Splinter Cell. Recently, the studio had been working to revive the multiplayer aspects of the franchise. It's also notable to mention that this work would have been done to create a technical foundation for multiplayer elements in future Assassin's Creed games. Initially, they began work on Project Echoes in 2022, multiplayer Assassin's Creed game with massive online ambitions, but was later scrapped. Then they moved on to another project with Ubisoft's Bordeaux, still a concept featuring multiple players, but it was canceled again. And now, more recently, started working on Assassin's Creed Shadows, developing a 4-player multiplayer game mode, which was deemed too expensive for DLC and was therefore converted into a standalone small project. Unfortunately, the recent Ubisoft strategic reset gutted the project after top management from Vantage Studios have play-tested the game. This was shortly before live testing of the game planned for May of 2026. Even though Assassin's Creed League is canceled, Creed League has a weird rhyming scheme to it. Ubisoft and NC work is still not entirely wasted. Vantage Studios still wants to carry their work forward and has created a small team to further refine the idea so it can be used as a co-op mode in the future Assassin's Creed game. Why is this font like weirdly different compared to like the other font? What is this? Invictus? Still under. It's like a Lego game. I don't know, but there you go. There's some more Ubisoft news for you. So I mentioned anime. This, again, from Video Game Chronicles, caught my eye. A game from the team that offended Studio Ghibli's Hayao Miyazaki with its AI zombie animation is out next week. The viral clip from 10 years ago had Miyazaki call its work an insult to life itself. Oh my goodness. The clip from a Japanese TV show, which aired back in 2016, showed the CEO of Tokyo-based company at a rupture demonstrating an animation prototype to the Studio Ghibli co-founder who looked on stony-faced. The demonstration showed a creature which looked like a zombie using machine learning to figure out how to move itself across a room rather than have an animator create the movement for it. Video went viral for the awkward moment where Miyazaki says the animation insults him because it reminds him of his disabled friend and calls the prototype an insult to life itself. A statement which leaves man, that's a hard name. Because you want to say adventure, attractors, CEO looking mortified. Now, as spotted by Automaton, oh my gosh. Dude, why is this name so hard for me to say? Attractor is releasing And Life, Motion Learning Life Evolution, a game which appears to have evolved from the tech seen in the prototype. The game features creatures made out blocks. The game features creatures made out blocks. That was not me. That is actually how it's written, which shuffle around awkwardly under a physics engine as they learn how to move. Here's the video. I was skimming through it to see if it had that Miyazaki clip. Okay. So this is AI, apparently. Has a Minecraft feel to it. Will not lie. That looks like an elephant. Got some weird... They're all like spider creatures. So it really just looks like a Sims game, kind of, to me. Taking the role of a godlike being, players can either watch as the creatures evolve and grow more adept to the physics engine, or interfere by shaping the world and either helping them out or creating meteor storms to make life harder for them. Creatures that learn to move effectively toward food will survive, reproduce, and pass on their traits, the game description reads. Through each generation, their body gradually evolves. Claiming that the game has, quote, no story, no complex ecosystem, no goals, the studio says the aim is to simply relax in a soothing atmosphere and watch these creatures do their best to live. Can one call it a game, though? I don't know. I feel like I would just want an option to speed up the evolution system just to see how they go. I don't know. But apparently they still went ahead regardless of Miyazaki's comment about the AI zombie animation. They said he doesn't know what he's talking about. We're gonna push through this. We're gonna pull forward. And apparently that's what they did. So one big thing that kind of has taken place that I saw online with other peeps that I follow talk about. So apparently Dean Cain was rejected by GalaxyCon over a difference in, quote, values, and it's sparking questions about conservative voices at fan conventions. So who is Dean Cain? Well, he's best known for portraying Superman in Lois and Clark, The Adventures of Superman. I did see this on X. So he shared that he had been rejected from appearing to GalaxyCon, with the convention citing a vague difference in values as the reason. Cain made the situation public after learning he would not be booked for a future GalaxyCon event, sparking debate over whether political ideology is increasingly influencing guest selection at fan conventions. Oh, it 100% is. And unfortunately, we let people invade this space and take over. According to Cain, GalaxyCon informed him that he would not be invited due to a mismatch in values. The explanation, however, stopped there. No specific beliefs or statements were identified as problematic. So this is the tweet at hand. It says, in regard to Dean Cain, although I have a soft spot in my heart because he sent me an autographed postcard in a mail when I was like 10 years old, GalaxyCon's value don't align with Dean. Someone's blotted out. Also reaches out to us quite often, but we are also going to pass on him. Thank you. I had Miyazaki moment. I think we've all had Miyazaki moments, to be honest. And then that was what Dean shared, and then he, in a post, which him commenting, this is how they try to blacklist. What are the values that I hold which are not aligned with GalaxyCon's values? Please be specific, Sarah plus GalaxyCon, other celebrity name redacted by me. Oh, you meant I was hating? You're hating Miyazaki's moment? Well, I think we've all been there to where we just look at it and be like, I don't want to, the meme, I don't want to live on this planet anymore. We've all been there at times. Dang it, I keep clicking that because I want to get rid of the highlight. So Cain has been outspoken about his conservative views in the past, including his position on faith, law enforcement, national politics. He questioned why those views would disqualify him from a pop culture convention centered on fandom, nostalgia, and entertainment. Rather than attacking the staff who delivered the decision, Cain made it clear that the individual is simply the messenger. He instead directed his questions toward GalaxyCon's leadership, asking for clarity from con owner Mike Broder about which values were deemed incompatible. I don't blame Sarah for being the messenger here. The owner of GalaxyCon's name is Mike Broder. I'd love to hear his explanation regarding my values. So that's what he did. He publicly requested it. And to date, GalaxyCon has not issued a public response outlining its concern. Cain later confirmed that he did speak with Broder, though privately. He described the discussion as respectful and civil, emphasizing that the conversation itself was productive, even though the two disagreed on certain points. Spoke with Mike. Appreciate the conversation. We agree to disagree on certain things, but it turns out our values aren't so far apart. I encourage folks to speak with each other, even when they disagree on some things, and the world would be a better place. Yes, but you still weren't invited. This makes no sense. It means that whoever this Mike guy is a pussy and is catering and caving to a bunch of probably 3 people that are like, we don't want him here. The former Superman also stated he believed their values were not as far apart as initially suggested and encouraged people to engage in dialogue, like we just read. Despite that exchange, the decision remained unchanged because someone asked, so are you invited or not? Nope. So apparently they're not so similar. Because there's a difference between, we disagree on stuff, but yeah, you can still come because at the end, we just want to celebrate the stuff. And the guy said no. So clearly there's still an issue. At the same time, Dean Cain remains barred from appearing at GalaxyCon. The convention is actively promoting a Star Wars or a Stars of Superman event centered on the legacy of the Man of Steel. In a recent promotional post, GalaxyCon highlighted a special mail-in autograph event featuring Tom Welling, Brandon Routh, and Tyler Hoechlin, 3 actors who portrayed Superman across different eras of television and film. The promotion frames the event as a celebration of Superman's enduring legacy, describing it as 3 generations of steel and encouraging fans to honor the history of the character through exclusive autographs and collectibles, but apparently not honoring a part of Superman that happened in the 90s. The Adventures of Lois and Clark. Or Lois and Clark, The New Adventures of Superman. I remember seeing that online or on TV. I never stopped to really watch it, but I remember seeing it. So notably absent from that lineup is indeed Cain, who played Superman, one of the most prominent and long-running television portrayals of the character. Yes, and the fact you're just not having him on there shows just how butthurt you guys are about his viewpoints. GalaxyCon has not publicly clarified which of Cain's views led to his rejection, nor has it addressed whether political ideology plays a role in guest selection. It is. Let's not pretend about it. It 100% is. These people have shown the masks have come off. This is how these people think. These are the people that are making it to this black and white situation. Show no quarter to anyone who slightly disagrees with them in their fake, stupid reality at all. Of course, they get as many chances as possible when they fuck up, but not when you don't agree with them in terms of ideology. Then you're unforgiven. Then you're forever damned. We saw the people how they truly are when Charlie Kirk got assassinated. We saw it. We saw this. We saw how they think about kids. We see them how they think about, their perceived idea of who the enemy in this world is. We've seen it. They don't hide it. The incident has reignited debate over whether pop culture conventions, once considered politically neutral spaces, are increasingly filtering guests based on ideological alignment rather than professional relevance or fan interest. For now, the facts are straightforward. He asked for clarity, engaged respectfully with GalaxyCon leadership, and remain excluded, with the explanation ending at the single word values. But Matthew Martson has stepped in, and he backs Dean Cain, also from that Park Place, this article. And he urges geeks and gamers to launch competing convention. So the conversation surrounding Dean Cain's exclusion from GalaxyCon has taken a new direction. Now Matthew Marston has come out in support of his fellow actor. What's more, Marston backed an idea from geeks and gamers personality Jay, better known to fans as Drunk 3PO. I know Jay. He has been on the show. Love the guy. Great dude. To launch a new convention. When voices on one side of the political divide tell the other to start your own event or platform, sometimes they do exactly that. And then they get butthurt when it outperforms their version. And then try to label it as, oh, it's just a den of gooners, rage baiters, rage clickers, grifters, XYZ. Like, as if their version is like no better, In fact, their version is even worse. In fact, their version is the corrupted version. So I have a feeling it's probably it's gonna kind of recap what happened. So there you go. Reached out. The report has already sparked considerable backlash in the fan community before Marsden weighed in. The actor shared Cain's original post, noting, we keep trying to tell ya he's not just another fan. Marsden is an established entertainment figure who had worked with Michael Bay, Ridley Scott, Sylvester Stallone. Nice. It's old Sly. Like Cain, he has received industry pushback for his political views. In response, Jay, who has hosted Marsden on YouTube live stream, suggested that the two of them and Cain launch their own alternative fan event. Wow, time to do our own thing. You down real Dean Cain and Matthew Marston? Jay said in an X post, and Marston replied immediately, oh, yes. The exchange didn't just represent a sign of solidarity with Cain. It also showed fans and media personalities aligning around a common goal. While actors may want to engage with fans, conventions can provide a safety buffer in place, some necessary restrictions on access. The idea of alternative events is nothing new, but launching one must overcome many hurdles, including reluctance from talent themselves. However, Marston's support of a Geeks and Gamer convention may add the needed credibility to create something new. The actor noted in a follow-up post, I keep telling people they need to vote with their feet. The backlash here is justified. Now let's have Geeks and Gamers, Drunk 3PO make their own con and take the power back. So when the values of event organizers don't align with those of the talents or the fans, they can cease being facilitators and become barriers. Marston's call for fans to vote with their feet may resonate because they already do so when and if such an opportunity presents itself. These cons are supposed to be about the fans. It's all toxic garbage. Exactly. Well, it's about enjoying what you enjoy. That's the thing. It's to be surrounded by other people or just being surrounded by the culture of what you enjoy and whatnot. That's what it's about. And these people turn it into to them and being it about themselves. This con is a terrible con if it does not suit to my needs, if it doesn't suit to what I demand, if it doesn't think the way I think. When you start doing that, you should not be allowed to go to cons until you realize that it's not about you and that your perceived idea of feeling unsafe against these people when literally nothing's going to happen to you. If that is so fearful to you, you can stay home. You can stay home until you develop the balls to realize that you're not the center of the world and that the world doesn't need to conform to you. But like I said, a lot of the masks has come off now, especially with all this insanity happening, showing that these people are actually indeed rotten to the core. And that's actually when we need to start pushing back on that in terms of like, oh yeah, we've seen how you dance and celebrated with Charlie Cook. You're not welcome around here. Get out. And if you don't want to leave, we will gladly encourage you to leave, you know? We have let the bullies get away with stuff for so long that it's time to finally stand up for yourself and slap the lips off the face of the bullies so that they can have a good wake-up call. Because remember, in their mind, they're always going to be right. So trying to convince these people is pointless now. Is pointless. The only people that will convince them is the good Lord when he comes back. And he ain't going to be happy. And he's going to be doing a lot of things to, let's just say, shame being probably low on the list of what the good Lord's going to do when he pours out his wrath. His wrath. I guess there could be more than one wrath. There's like the 7 bowls and stuff, but I need to study that more. But I know he pours out his wrath. Whether the exchange between Jay and Marston ultimately leads to a Geeks and Gamers convention remains uncertain, but the response to Kane's exclusion has already expanded beyond criticism into discussion of alternatives, suggesting that for some fans and creators, the focus is shifting from protest to building something new. Yep. And then you realize a lot of the protest goes away when they're not getting paid anymore. When that funding is taken away, then all of a sudden the people who claim that they care about that stuff suddenly don't show up anymore. So I remember actually reading about this a while back. Stop Killing Games was a petition that started, and I kind of never saw anything happen to it per se, but apparently it has now passed 1.3 million valid signatures, which now means that the European Union, it seems like now the European Union has to respond to it. But let's find out, shall we? With the final total of almost 1.3 million valid signatures, the Stop Killing Games EU petition, or the Stop Destroying Video Games European Citizens Initiative, as it has since been renamed, has earned itself a compulsory review by and a response from the European Union's Governing Commission's Court. So per the initiative's official website, of its 1.45 million total signatures, they put an O instead of a U. Signators. 1,294,188 of them were found to be valid. So with nearly every EU member state having not only met their minimum required threshold for petition consideration as based on the population size and other factors, and those that surpassed it doing so by anywhere from 120% to 480%. So here's the number of valid signatures. Apparently it's been archived on archive. in the archive leak. So, according to the governing body, the Stop Destroy Video Games European Citizens Initiative will be, quote, the 14th valid initiative that will be examined by the Commission, which the board is, quote, is required to start an examination process and issue a reply to within 6 months. The organizers of the initial call on the Commission to introduce a requirement for publishers selling or licensing video games in the EU to leave such games in a functional state so as to prevent publishers from remotely disabling video games. The Commission has until July 27th, 2026 to present its official reply outlining the action it intends to take, if any. The Commission will meet the organizers to discuss the initiative in details in the coming weeks. A public hearing will then be organized by the European Parliament. The European Commission concludes. So sharing these numbers to Reddit's Stop Killing Games community, Campaign Director General Moritz Katzner explained that while he could not provide significant detail on the matter due to certain background limitations, he could confirm that the handover for the petition is planned for mid to late February, as well as his intent to create a dedicated Stop Killing Games YouTube channel. So asked by a Reddit user as to how the campaign's 89.36% validity rate stacked up to other EC initiatives, Katzner replied, I'd say we're definitely in the top 3 when it comes to low rates of failed signatures. We're sitting at around 10%, while the best performing initiatives tend to fall into the 10 to 15 range percent, which puts us firmly in the upper bracket. Some initiatives see failure rates as high as 20 to 25% and still manage to get over the line, but it's worth noting that the overall sample size is quite small, only 11 initiatives. So this was first launched in 2023 after Ubisoft announced that the servers for the 2014 The Crew would go offline due to, quote, upcoming server infrastructure and licensing constraints. The original Stop Killing Games campaign was limited specifically to the UK, where it ultimately fell flat, to there being, quote, no requirement in UK law compelling software companies and providers to support older versions of their operating system, software, or connected products. So eventually relaunched at the EU level, the petition encountered a significant number of roadblocks, including a disinformation campaign from YouTuber Pirate Software and a lack of funding lawsuit from the larger industry before ultimately reaching its current point of success. Yeah, I remember that, Pirate Software. Ultimately, the ball regarding the Stop Killing Games petition now sits in the EU's court, and whether or not they'll make the shot remains to be seen. But there you go. Oh gosh. This guy apparently does not seem happy. This comment. Absolute waste of time given that this exact same methodology was used and led to citizens voting to ban whatever that is in farming, only in the EU to ignore it anyway. Well, we got a negative Nancy in the comments apparently, but good for that. So at least, see, that's the thing, is you're doing it the right way, and even if the end nothing comes of it, you still did something. You still showed that 1.3 million valid signatures showcase that we want games to still run if you if you stop supporting it, and if you don't want to handle it, there will be people out there that will be willing to. I remember that being the big argument. So Nicki Minaj has been getting blasted because a lot of her viewpoints have been quite conservative. She's been unleashing the fury, and now she has gone scorched earth on Jay-Z with stunning accusations. Sorry, just setting stuff up here. So, Nicki Minaj took to social media during Sunday night's Grammy Awards broadcast. Oh gosh, the freaking Grammys, always doing stuff. Going scorched earth on Jay-Z in a series of shocking posts, Minaj made allegations that went far beyond the professional grievance that have been part of her ongoing feud with the record executive. The record executive, I guess. Minaj claims, if substantiated, will not only have legal ramifications for Jay-Z, but could have major repercussions across the entertainment industry. What would that be? Minaj opened with a picture showing Jay-Z posing alongside Beyonce and Aaliyah. I don't know if I said that right, but I don't care. When they were in their mid-teens. In her caption, she didn't mention them by name. Instead, she paired it with allegations of criminal and spiritual wrongdoing that painted a deeply troubling portrait. Are we all understanding that these people have been sacrificing children as a way of gaining and maintaining power, she said on X. If you ever vote Democrat, again, I prefer saying demon rats, you're just as soulless as they are and will perish. Maybe it's time for me to do some story time, since I was trying not to say what I know, yet they continue to attempt bullying. Many will remember that Alea died in a plane crash in 2001. Oh, nope. I had no idea who that is. Still don't. Some readers interpreted her comments as simply as implying something more sinister, though she did not state this directly. Yet her following posts only added fuel to the controversy. The jig is up, Minaj said after accusing an unnamed artist of satanic ritual abuse of children. Leaving the individual's name open to speculation amplified her post, even as her description of his or her acts were graphic and disturbing. You see, when your master is Satan, she added, you must constantly shed blood. Actually, this is very true, because the scripture actually does say life is in the blood, and a lot of blood consumption actually takes place during these rituals because they believe that it adds additional life onto them and slows down the aging. At the time of this writing, her post has received over 19 million views. It even drew the attention of Alex Jones, who thanked her for her courage and invited her on his show. So since Sunday night, Minaj has continued reposting unflattering and inflammatory images of Beyonce and Jay-Z, but for the rest of the evening, her focus shifted to professional concerns. Also, I won't be releasing an album until my contract is renegotiated and until I tell you about all the sabotage this Rico is finding out about billboards, she said. Later, she added that they have attempted to sabotage a documentary she made recounting her abuse and want to ruin her financially and force her into compliance. Her tone was defiant as she wrote, "The destruction that's about to come down on them isn't funny." So taken as a whole, Minaj's series of posts portrays what she describes as a deeply corrupt industry. Well, this is actually very true, and even Phoenix said on today's Side Scrollers, from what he knows being in the entertainment industry and talking to people in the music industry, that apparently it's a lot worse, which I'm actually not surprised when it comes to the music industry. I think even Tom McDonald talked about a little bit of that stuff. Minaj isn't the first to suggest that the world of entertainment has a dark side, but what makes her scorched earth attack so shocking is she appears to implicate Jay-Z by name. In her final post for the night, she teased that there are more dark revelations to come. Maybe I should discuss the brainwashing techniques they use. At the time of this writing, Jay-Z has not responded, yet Minaj's post will likely dominate pop culture conversations for some time to come. Can we actually, check out the posts? Oh, yeah, there you go. Let's see if she has. Just seeing if there's, any other additional stuff on it. But you got that, though. All right. Well, in any case, I definitely would want to hear what she would have to say about that sort of stuff, because the amount of demonic insanity that takes place in the entertainment industry is so sad too, and a lot of it, unfortunately, stems way back into for the days of Noah, your Enoch the evil. There's two Enochs in the book. There's Enoch from the son of Cain, and Enoch the son of Jared, who's from the Seth line. And the one from Cain is the evil one, and the one from Seth is the good one. And the secret societies and all that stuff try to reverse it and say their version's the better. But he's responsible. He's known by other names in different cultures, but he's the one responsible spreading like all of like the mysticism and the rituals and all that stuff. It's in the government too, says Komaga. Oh yeah, 100% it's in the government. There's powers behind everything. Scripture also says that too. So you just got to be aware and like notice that sort of stuff too. But I do not want to end on such a sour note in terms of making. I mean, it is interesting that to see Nicki Minaj like going ham on stuff. But let's go ahead and as we wind down the show here, that's all I have for you. Just take a look at the games throughout the history. You can even look up from Moby Games as well. I also check out that. So, February 5th, The Guardian Legend. Harvest Moon 64. I know a lot of people like Harvest Moon. Ooh, Paper Mario. That is a great game. I love the Paper Mario games. Unfortunately, they kind of changed route after the 1,000-Year Door. And then I jumped over to Mario and Luigi series because that kept up what I liked about Paper Mario. Got your Yu-Gi-Oh! World Championship Tournament of 2004. Ooh, Devil May Cry 4. Nobunaga's Ambition Rise to Power. Oh, Turok. Demon's Souls. Tenchu Shadow Assassins for the Wii. Dead Space 3. Ooh, Fist of the North Star. Ken's Rage 2. I have that game. Those are some good, fun games. The Lost Paradise one's the best one. Dang, Dragon Ball Z Xenoverse? Wow. A lot of solid games today. I'm going to have to look back and see if Blabs did terrible on this list. But who dog? That's a lot of good stuff. I need to play the Tenchu series too, by the way. Pokemon Bank. That was a lot of good lists today. Moby Games goes like way across the world, not just from Japan and US, but like Europe, UK, all that stuff. Let's see if they have anything else. You have some R-types. PlayStation. SimCity 3000 for Windows for United Kingdom. Daredevil. Oh gosh, Game Boy Advance. It's the one Daredevils with Ben Affleck. Uh-oh. Oh no. Diddy Kong Racing for the DS was released 2007. My Horse and Me for the Nintendo DS. Twisted Metal Head On Extra Twisted Edition. Zoo Tycoon 2 for the DS. Burnout Paradise, the Ultimate Box for Games Load release, the Windows version, Austria, Germany, and Switzerland. Demon's Soul, like I said. Deutschland singt online party for Germany. Oh, dude, Dante's Inferno, the 360 version for United Kingdom was released. Dude, Dante's Inferno is a great game. I wish they would have continued it. That's a great game. So good. Set our Dead Space. Some XCOM 2 was released worldwide. Rocksmith 2014, the PlayStation 4 version remastered 90s mix song pack 6. It's so sad that kind of after like 2016, you kind of see a slow falling off of games because games just started sucking a little bit. Slowly coming back though. But that was a good list of games. Yeah, I'm gonna have to do. I'm gonna have to see how side scrollers did in terms of making the gaming list. Cause that blab sometimes gets it very, very wrong. Well, that's all I have for you guys today. Thank you so much for hanging out. Tomorrow we will be continuing Bloodstain, and I need to figure out what other game we could start up. So I may look on the old backlog list, maybe a retro game, an oldie but a goodie. We'll have to check out and see. And also checking out and seeing is who is online that we can raid. Who can we raid? My friend Wicked Virtue is online. Poor Blabs. I know. She needs to just not suck at making video game lists. And she needs to go beyond her boundary of the Wii. Some days she gets it good. But we'll have to take a gander. Let's see. And over on Rumble, who do we want to raid? Let's see. We haven't raided Alex Zedra in a while. She just had a baby. Super happy for her. So we'll raid her. All right, you pups. Show these people some loves. Thank you very much. If I can get in on oh no, I think Amanda just go offline? She might have just went offline. If that's the case, then we can raid. Oh, it's scheduled. Wait a minute. What's going on here? Oh yeah, she just went offline. Okay. Well, if that's the case, we'll raid Jay. Good friend Jay. We'll raid him. All right. Catch you guys on the flip side. If we can do a afternoon stream, it'll be around like 2 or so, and then 8 p.m. Central Time. Till then, take care. God bless. Peace.